Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the channel. Listen, I'll tell you what. November can't get here fast enough. I don't know what's going to happen with these elections. I don't know if my girl Jasmine Crockett's going to make it out of March with the primary. I think she has a good chance. But I don't know if America has the bandwidth to withstand another ICE shooting in America. Whether it's LA, Minnesota, New York, wherever. Because this shit is out of control. Completely out of control. I can't even really get into my week and what the hell else happened because ICE has been out the fuck control. A 5-year-old detained by ICE. 5-year-old detained by ICE. Because there was really no protocol, I guess. When you take somebody who's a father, who's here illegally, maybe their papers are gone, and this is what happens. Listen. I was going to stream earlier. I decided not to. Only because my son was a live toddler today. Something about these pandemic babies. When these pandemic babies turn up, they really do turn up. Right? But to the same point, it's just crazy to me that through the Nick Sorter story, through the fraud happening, Tim Walz dropping out of running for re-election, and now 2 shootings. Now the first one, I was like, you know what, this lady's crazy. She's sitting in the middle of the street. The second one, I haven't really watched. I haven't really watched the Alex Pretti story yet, and we'll get to it, but I know there are multiple angles. I know Kirstie Noem had a press conference. I haven't seen it yet. I know Trump said something on Truth Social. But I want to start with something I just saw on Twitter a little while ago that may change. Oh, that's not it. That's it. It may change the way people think about this gentleman. Right? Kind of interesting. But just hear him out before the unfortunate shooting this morning.
Terrence Lee Randolph, March 30th, 1947, December 10th, 2024. Today we remember that freedom is not free. We have to work at it, nurture it, protect it, and even sacrifice for it. May we never forget and always remember our brothers and sisters who have served so that we may enjoy the gift of freedom. So in this moment, we remember and give thanks for their dedication and selfless service to our nation in the cause of our freedom. In this solemn hour, we render them our honor and our gratitude.
This is the man that ICE killed today. Absolutely crazy. And I'm not saying it like, oh, you know, it could be the line of duty. Like, no, this is the man that ICE killed today. Which is absolutely crazy to me. Absolutely wild. Now, to be fair, to be honest, to be all the way real with you, I know the video's done numbers. I haven't seen the whole video. I haven't seen a bit of the video. I've seen the headlines. I've seen it scroll down my timeline a bit about what's happened. But I haven't put my eyes on this yet. Oh shit. What the fuck? They're going so fucking hard. Why are they going so fucking hard? Oh shit. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Cause I ain't see the whole shit at first. Hold on. I ain't see this. Like, this is what? What the fuck are they going through? Like 5-on-1. That's crazy to me. Again, it's been all day. I know we into the next day. We're sitting this Sunday morning. That's this guy that they killed?
Terrence Lee Randolph, March 30th, 1947, December 10th, 2024. Today we remember that freedom is not free. We have to work at it, nurture it, protect it, and even sacrifice for it. May we never forget and always remember our brothers and sisters who have served so that we may enjoy the gift of freedom. So in this moment, we remember and give thanks for their dedication and selfless service to our nation in the cause of our freedom. In this solemn hour, we render them our honor and our gratitude.
Rest in peace to Mr. Alex Pretti. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy to me. Thank you, Ed Krasenstein, for posting that. So I could at least get something on that. That's at least, not even at least, that's just all the way crazy. I don't understand that, yo. I'm not at a point in my life where I just want to honestly, as I honestly feel in life, I don't want to sit here and watch people die. I don't think that's normal. It's not something I don't want to watch black people die. I don't want to watch white people die. I don't want to watch people die in general. And you can't judge it on one video. Not the shooting, but this, it's like, guy seemed like a nice guy. It's just fucking unfortunate. It's fucking unfortunate. This was live at downtown Minneapolis. After all of this today. This is, I guess, the calm after the storm, man. I don't think that man deserves to lose his life. I don't think any protester deserves to lose their life. It's just a fact of like, what the fuck are we doing as a country? Like, we have to honestly, I think, sit back and ask ourselves, what the fuck are we really doing? Not Republican, not Democrat. Don't even overly sensationalize this shit. It's like, okay, cool. I've been to enough funerals to realize and know that not everybody shows up. This man didn't deserve to go out this way. Over whatever may have happened, ICE came, shoved people out the damn road. That's highly unfortunate, yo. That's crazy. I'm gonna go to this Republican pundit, Alec Lace, who already has an opinion on this. And I think one thing that's hard for me that I've kind of learned in my is patience and process in politics, right? It's a fact of I don't always have to jump out there first. You don't always have to say anything, but I do feel like people who jump to a radical conclusion before they even get all the facts out, before they even have a reverence for life, they're part of the problem. You could do you realize that when this is over, your fan base, everybody else moves on. You don't have to go so hard when somebody else loses their life over some politics shit. Oh. Let me see what this guy has to say.
All right, we have what appears to be another justified shooting by ICE, or this time Border Patrol agents in Minnesota. This time it was this guy, Alex Pretti. He is the one that decided to bring a gun with him and continue to engage with ICE officers or with Border Patrol agents during this observing that he says he was doing. Now, regardless of, this guy is there to obstruct. That's his purpose. That's his reason. Now, he's armed. Obviously, he has a weapon on him. Here are the videos that I believe show why I believe this is a justified shooting, and you've seen all of them, I'm sure, but if you the slow motion video here, there's multiple things that we can see. In the video, we see this guy grabbing something with his left hand. He looks like he's reaching into his waistband. He clearly looks like he's reaching with his left hand into his waistband. There is something in his right hand. I don't know what that is. It's not clear enough to see. We also have the man in gray, the law enforcement guy in gray, appears to pull a gun from Alex Pretti while he's on the ground. He pulls a gun out of his, apparently from behind him, like where his behind is. He pulls this gun. He doesn't have the gun when he reaches in. He has the gun when he comes out. While this is all happening, you hear clearly in the video somebody yelling, "Gun, gun, gun." Now, is that in reference to the gun that the guy pulled out? Do they see another gun? I don't know. Now, in this moment, everything happens in 2 seconds. Now, we can clearly look back and analyze all this. We have the liberty and the privilege of slow motion replay and second guessing. These guys, these fathers, brothers, and sons, have just split seconds to react.
Are they all even
okay? So
police?
all of this happens at the same time. Guy pulls the gun out of his waistband. The suspect reaches with his left hand, has something in his right hand, and someone's yelling, "Gun, gun, gun." Okay? They have no idea if this guy has a second pistol on him. Even if they didn't see the guy pull the gun out, they don't know if he's got another gun. There's too many things happening at one time here. I believe that it's completely justified for them to shoot this guy. Now, it's sad. You don't want to see this happen to anybody. And again, you should not be putting yourself in a situation where you are armed and you are engaging with law enforcement officers. That is 10 times out of 10 going to end up in a deadly situation for you. Okay, so this guy had an opportunity to back right away. As soon as he sees ICE officers begin to engage and step forward, you back away, hands up, I'm out of here, I'm apologize, that's it. Because you know you have a gun on you, and this could be deadly. That's not what this guy chose to do. This guy chose to engage, and it ended up deadly for him.
That's the guy right there.
Again, all of these things seem to happen at one time. The guy has a gun pulled out from his back. He's reaching with his left hand into his waistband. He's got something in his right hand. Someone yells, "Gun, gun, gun." All of those things happening simultaneously ends up in this guy being eliminated.
Back his neck.
Again, it's sad to see this happen. Why it's happening is because Tampon Tim Waltz Jacob Frey, the phony Somali wannabe, have refused to de-escalate this situation. They could end it in a moment if they just stand up there and say, yes, we.
The biggest problem that I have with a lot of these conservatives, let me try to fix it up from people on the vertical. Normally I get that right. My apologies here, y'all. Let me try to at least get him side by side so you can see his bullshit along with everything else, right? But the issue I have with these guys is, there we go, that'll be a little better for y'all. The issue I have is, how can we see this and just take two completely different damn takes? I get it. Super conservative. But you can sit here and say it's justified. Like, at least give it some time, some kind of reverence. 24 hours, 48 hours. But the clickbait is outrageous here, Alec.
We disagree with ICE. We don't like Trump. We don't want him to be here. But please, do not interfere with ICE operations. Do not obstruct them from doing their job. Do not engage with them in a violent way. If they would just do that and tell their people to stop doing that, this could be over. Maybe they won't listen, but it has a much better chance of being de-escalated rather than when you're standing up on the podium calling them the Gestapo and Nazis and lying to people about them kidnapping innocent children. That is the reason why we're where we're at right now. And never forget who Alex Pretti and Renee Good died trying to protect. Here are just some of the thousands of child rapists, murderers, violent criminals that have been pulled off the streets because of ICE. Never forget, these are the people that the left protesters are willing to give their life for. Child sex offenders, child traffickers.
Jeffrey Epstein. What the fuck are y'all talking about? What are y'all doing for Jeffrey Epstein and all the billionaires and everybody else, motherfucker? Like, this is the piece where it's like, damn, you mean to tell me out of all the shit, to be fair, out of all the shit, it's like, you know what, damn, we're gonna put all of this shit on these two people that got shot down by ICE? You like personally read their memoirs and their tokens, whatever they may be about their life story to get this to this narrative. It's like the linking of the trauma and the bullshit is so sensationalized. It's sickening for real, bro. Because the same buddy who he has behind him, Charlie Kirk, you see what happened. It's like not the murder, not that piece. The fact that the fan base just dissipates. The fan base goes elsewhere. Nick Fuentes, Candace Owens, fighting with your ex-wife, but like nobody's gonna care about this shit. So why put so much into this? Why create this narrative about these people's life now that this is what they're fighting for, when in reality he could have just been trying to get somebody across the street? Like that's the part that pisses me off.
Murderers, rapists, those are the people that they are trying to stop ICE from arresting. Don't ever get that confused. That is exactly who they're protecting. And now we have this other sad situation that has occurred.
So
did the guy have a gun on him? Yes. Was he attacking ICE officers? Yes. Did he deserve to die? No. But when you put yourself into that situation, there's a good chance it's going to happen. You cannot fault the officers there who are already in a highly tense situation because the Democrats have put a bullseye on their back.
Are they all trained?
Now, you don't want to see anybody get killed like this. You have the right to protest. Show up and protest. They've been telling ICE to go F themselves for days. Fine, that's great. Go ahead. When you are told to disperse, when you're told to back up, when you're told to disengage, you don't listen. Now you are in a problem, especially if you have a weapon on you. You are in big-time trouble, and that's what happened here. Now, people, of course, on the left, they have their panties in a bunch over this. They're calling this officer, agent, a murderer. And it's only going to get worse. They're only going to put more of a bullseye on these ICE agents, and they're only going to end up getting more citizens killed. We had an ICE agent who had his finger freaking bit off today by one of these maniacs that are out there. Okay? The American people voted for President Donald Trump to deport all these illegal aliens. That is what they are doing. You might not like it, but that is what we voted for them to do. Now, this is no different. ICE is not doing anything different here than when Barack Obama was in charge. The only part that's different is that the left are not calling them Gestapo. The media are not calling them Nazis. Okay? That is the difference that you see. between Barack Obama when he had Tom Homan in charge, and he was giving Tom Homan all the praise and glory, and he was applauding ICE and saying we had to get all these people out of here. You didn't see all of this resistance because the media played along with it. They supported it. The Democrats played along with it. They supported it. Now it's because it's Trump doing it. They have turned all of these people, and let's not forget, you have paid agitators, out-of-state agitators that are all convening here in Minnesota because it's the opportunity right now. And the Democrats love the optics. They want.
But do you think that none of these motherfuckers are citizens? See, they talk about these paid opportunities. I'll be real with you. To be all the way fair, where the fuck are they advertising these jobs? I know plenty of people looking for jobs. I know people that have left the Democratic Party and switched and became Republicans just so they can get a job in politics, but they haven't seen none of these protesting jobs. I see Republicans turn Democrats too to get jobs in certain states. But it's a fact of life now. Where are they advertising these jobs for people to go protest? Because listen, you got to be paying at least $200 an hour to go to Minnesota in the cold tundra and Arctic cold to go protest. And this guy, the last I checked that I seen over here, he was an ICU nurse.
Terrence Lee Randolph, March 30th, 1947, December 10th, 2024. Today we remember that freedom is not free. We have to work at it, nurture it, protect it, and even sacrifice for it. May we never forget and always remember our brothers and sisters who have served so that we may enjoy the gift of freedom.
Isn't that just so powerful? Isn't that just so powerful to sit back and realize that the narrative you're putting out is just bullshit? Because you're rushing to get the clicks, you're rushing to get the bait. And it's like, you know what? Even now, it's like, you know what? Damn. Why? Because guess what? You have a fan base that wants to hear this shit because everybody just wants to take an angle. Oh, yeah, this guy, he had the guns. Trump said it. Kristi Noem said this. And it's like, you know what? This shit's only getting worse. Shit's only getting worse.
Want to see chaos in the streets to say this is Trump's America. Look at what Trump is doing because they have nothing else. They have nothing to offer. They have no plan for America. They just had the helm for 4 years. We saw what a disaster it was. It was so bad that's why Trump won by such a landslide because they are a disaster. They are a disaster. Their policies are a disaster, and they have nothing left but to just fuel this chaos that's taking place. You don't see it happening in these other states where there's no resistance to ICE. They're just going in, getting the illegals and getting them out. It's plain and simple. That's all it should be. Again, I call this justified shooting. More has to come out. I'm just a ham and egger here, calling it as I see it. But to call the ICE agents or the Border Patrol agents murderers, I think is very unhealthy for the country to do something like that. These guys are obviously there. They're there to confront ICE. They're there to obstruct ICE. They're there to get in the way. And it's a very bad idea if you're going to be packing heat and going to confront and engage with a law officer. So,
normally the issue is, to be fair, normally that's how they talk about black folks when they get caught up with ICE or caught up with law enforcement type shit. Not ICE, but, with law enforcement, right? And the issue is, they're killing white folks. They're arresting the Hispanics. They're arresting the blacks. But they're killing white people. And it's unfortunate. Because it shouldn't be killing anybody. But it's crazy because that's going to be a crazy ass election. It's going to be a crazy ass time before we get from November, right? Especially if they end up winning the armed trucks in the city like this. Hey, they ain't fucking off, man. This is absolutely wild. to another live. Hold on, y'all. Man, I'm probably one of the messages, man. Absolutely crazy.
Good evening.
Oh, that doesn't matter. It's just
Right, I'm hoping some of you might know this song so that you'll jump in with me. I'm not a singer, so I'll do my best for y'all. But I'm a human with a breaking, aching heart. And it's good to be here with all of you.
Got you. What y'all talking about, yo? Where's it not? They're already not showing up for this, man.
Please join in.
Check out what Pretti had to say earlier.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. There are two different things that I'd like to discuss with you tonight. The first one being a storm that is barreling down on our country and will be impacting approximately 250 million Americans in 40 different states. We've been working together here at the FEMA headquarters and have opened our National Response Coordination Center and are working with local and state authorities to make sure that we're getting individuals and communities pre-deployed resources that they may need and also preparing them for the upcoming days, which will significantly impact them and their citizens. The Trump administration and FEMA are working closely with them to get them information, to get them resources, and to help them be prepared and well equipped for the road ahead as we go through this next week. But before I take any questions and give more details on the storm and its impact, I do want to address the tragic situation that we saw in Minneapolis today that unfolded on the streets. It occurred with DHS law enforcement as they carried out their lawful duties to keep Americans safe in the threat of criminal illegal aliens in this country. At 9:05 a.m. Central Time, the Department of Homeland Security law enforcement officials and officers were conducting targeted operations in Minneapolis against an illegal alien whose criminal history included domestic assault with intentionally inflicting bodily harm, disorderly conduct, and driving without a valid license. An individual approached U.S. Border Patrol officers with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun. The officers attempted to disarm this individual, but the armed suspect reacted violently. Fearing for his life and for the lives of his fellow officers around him, an agent fired defensive shots. Medics were on the scene immediately and attempted to deliver medical aid to the subject, but he was pronounced dead at the scene. The suspect also had 2 magazines with ammunition in them that held dozens of rounds. He also had no ID. This looks like a situation where an individual arrived at this scene to inflict maximum damage on individuals and to kill law enforcement.
What?
About hundreds of protesters then showed up at the scene. They began to obstruct and to assault law enforcement officers. We saw objects being thrown at them, including ice and other objects, and a rampant assault began, and even an HSI officer agent's finger was bitten off. Crowd control measures were deployed to bring safety to the public and to law enforcement at the scene. And once again, I want to remind everybody that this situation and this tragedy did not have to happen. Our law enforcement are doing everything that they can to protect the public. We're praying for this deceased loved one's family and friends, but we also recognize that the Minnesota governor and the Minneapolis mayor need to take a long, hard look in the mirror. They need to evaluate their rhetoric, their conversations, and their encouragement of such violence against our citizens and our law enforcement officers. I'll remind you that Governor Walz today in his press conference said that our officers were not even law enforcement, which is a lie. He's called them the Gestapo. He's encouraged residents and citizens and violent rioters to resist. He's doxed their identities, putting themselves and their families' lives in jeopardy. He's refused to turn over murderers to federal law enforcement officers. He's protected illegal criminals and protected them from being brought to justice, and even overseen a historic, unprecedented theft of American taxpayer dollars.
Oh, yeah,
Tens of billions of dollars were stolen under his watch, and he allowed it to happen, and in some instances may have even facilitated it. In other cities and states across the country, we don't see this happen. Local, state, and officials work with us to make sure that we're making their streets safer. I'll point to the city of Memphis, which is where there is a Democrat mayor in place. He worked with us and our federal law enforcement officers, and we saw murder rates drop by 50% because of that partnership. We've seen historic lows in the criminal acts that have happened in that city. We've had the same amount of law enforcement officers there, but a very different result because of the leadership in place. Last week, ICE did over 2,000 different operations, and we saw people be brought to justice and the American people made safer because of that work. We don't have this problem in Texas or in Florida because those individuals in those states work with us, and they make sure that they keep peace and calm while they bring criminals to justice. In Minneapolis, Governor Walz and Mayor Frey, they instead choose violence. They instead choose to encourage the destruction of their city and the crime against their people. It appears that they want this lawlessness to continue. It appears that they want chaos to distract from the theft and the fraud and the corruption of their city. I'll remind you that this city has been corrupt for years with what we've seen with people that have been stealing taxpayer money, all under the leadership of Governor Walz and Mayor Frey. I'm asking for all the authorities in Minneapolis and the leaders to work with us. And there are two things that we have repeatedly asked the governor and the mayor to do. Number one, all we want them to do is that when they are going to release a dangerous criminal from their jails, turn them over to us so we can get them out of this country as soon as possible. Since we have been back in the White House with President Trump's leadership, they have released over 490 criminals onto their streets rather than allow us to get them out of the country to keep families safe. The second thing that we have asked the governor and the mayor to do is to help us keep people safe. Just give us backup on the streets while we do our targeted operations to get illegal criminals out of our country, and then we wouldn't have to be there facing these types of situations that we face with violent rioters who are impacting and attacking our law enforcement officers. That's all. Those are the two requests that we've asked of them. We've asked them to help us do that so that we can continue to see success in Minneapolis like we see in so many other cities and communities across the country. But they have refused because they want us talking about attacking law enforcement officers instead of the fraud and the theft that they facilitated in Minnesota.
That's crazy.
One thing I'd like to do before I take your questions on that situation on the storm is give you a few facts about the storm and what we're facing here in the coming days. This storm is going to produce heavy snow. It's going to produce dangerous freezing rain and ice and life-threatening wind chills that will be sustained for days. Power outages, road closures, and other impacts have already started to impact the Midwest, the South, and the East Coast. The most important thing that people can do across this country is to please stay off the roads, to stay home when possible, unless you absolutely have to be out and about. That will not only ensure that you and your family are safe, but that emergency responders aren't out there trying to rescue you when they could be out doing other work to proactively keep people safe and at home. Stay alert by listening to different announcements from your local officials and from your state. We want to remind everybody that in these emergency disaster situations, it's your local officials and local emergency managers that that go out and execute response to these disasters. Your states manage it, and the federal government is here to support. We're here and have been opened and visiting and talking with all of the governors and local leaders to make sure they have everything that they need ahead of time, and that we can be as prepared as possible for what is going to unfold in the coming days. I want you to make sure that you get the chance to visit the website ready.gov to see recommendations and advice for how you can protect your family and be prepared for the storm that is coming. We have 17 different states and the District of Columbia that have already declared states of emergency. President Trump has already approved emergency declarations at the federal level for these following states: for South Carolina, the Commonwealth of Virginia, Tennessee, Georgia, North Carolina, Maryland, Arkansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Indiana, and West Virginia. I'm sure there will be more coming, and we are turning those around immediately to make sure that states have the resources from the federal government that they've requested. I have spoken several times on conference calls, but also called personally governors and local leaders to facilitate the partnership that we need to help keep this federal response streamlined with their state responses. The Department of Homeland Security, FEMA, CISA, our cybersecurity team, focused on the electrical grid and our critical infrastructure. The Coast Guard and our other federal partners are all embedded in state operation centers across the country. Governors remain in the lead on these responses, and we are continuously talking to them to see what they need to continue to take care of their citizens and make sure that people are safe. I activated the National Response Coordination Center, which is where you are right now, 2 days ago, and we are monitoring the storm and coordinating federal support for the affected areas. At my direction, FEMA has already pre-positioned commodities in many locations across the country. We've embedded partners in state emergency operations centers, and we've deployed IMAT teams, incident management assistant teams, with dozens more ready to deploy at any moment, besides those that have already been pre-positioned. We have dozens of urban search and rescue teams that are ready to go out and to save lives in partnership with our local and state authorities should that become necessary. We do have tens of thousands of people in affected states in the South that have lost power. We have utility crews that are working to restore that as quick as possible, and we expect to continue to see that as ice builds on power lines and trees are affected and we see more damage. But we have partnered with our energy companies and rural electric communities to make sure that we are able to facilitate the repairs as soon as possible to get the power on, especially in light of the cold temperatures that we see coming for days on end. We just ask that everyone would be smart, stay home if possible, take care of your family members, check on your neighbors, and continue to work with your local officials to get through this difficult storm. And we will continue to pray for God to bless this great country and all of the families and the public servants who get up and work to keep people safe.
Real quick, just have to honestly say, I hate this shit. Honestly, I hate this shit. We'll go to Tim Walz, Governor Walz, Minnesota, see what he has to say. Because it's like, I don't see how she just skipped over whatever narrative her staff told her to read in the video, just with two different damn things. I'm gonna go to the governor here. I was a Tim Walz fan for like 35 days, maybe 14. When I saw he was a football coach, but then I realized he was just a puppet for Kamala. And here's where we are.
News: Minnesota Governor Tim Walz is giving an update on the deadly shooting involving a federal agent in Minneapolis. Let's listen in.
Hennepin County Sheriff Witt, State Patrol Colonel, and General Menke, the Adjutant General of the Minnesota National Guard. Well, as I said last week, this federal occupation of Minnesota long ago stopped being a matter of immigration enforcement. It's a campaign of organized brutality against the people of our state. And today that campaign claimed another life. I've seen the videos from several angles, and it's sickening. But I have a strong statement here for our federal government. Minnesota's justice system will have the last word on this. It must have the last word. As I told the White House in no uncertain terms this morning, the federal government cannot be trusted to lead this investigation. The state will handle it, period.
Let's go.
Let me say something else, and this is critically important. All of us understand what happened this morning and the tragedy of it, and my deepest sympathies to the family of a 37-year-old Minnesota resident, a lawful firearm concealed permit carrier, something that I've been lectured to by Republicans for decades, that is not only your right, it's your duty.
So
we know that the potential to further inflame tensions is high. And to Minnesotans, there's a difference. We want calm and peace and normalcy back to our lives. They want chaos. We cannot and we will not give them what they want by meeting violence with violence. Minnesota and our local law enforcement, as you have seen, have done everything possible to de-escalate. Local media has reported extensively on the cooperation to de-escalate this situation. Donald Trump, I call on you once again, remove this force from Minnesota. They are sowing chaos and violence. We've seen deadly violence from federal agents again and again and again. But in contrast to that, on these frozen streets, what you witnessed yesterday was the best of Minnesotans, peacefully exercising their First Amendment rights. And I attended in the church basement hundreds of Minnesotans from all faith packing care packages for families that have been ripped apart. Despite the horrific acts by this federal government, Minnesotans are standing up for the rule of law. They're protesting loudly and urgently, but peacefully.
I'll say this. A lot of people say paid actors. Somebody asked for my take. Some people said paid actors. Some people have said, the fraud. Some people have pointed to other things, especially regarding law enforcement. Now, I support law enforcement. Do what you gotta do, right? Like, you get in a car accident, you're gonna call law enforcement type shit, right? You're not gonna call your homeboy, hey, I got in a car accident, right? You're gonna call 911, somebody breaking your house, same shit. But for the law enforcement that was in Minnesota, I didn't make content on it, but it was a press conference that happened about 2 days ago. Basically, the chief of police came out and said that their officers were being targeted by ICE when they're off duty. And they were all primarily officers of color, Hispanic officers. And all of a sudden, ICE ends up treating them some kind of way until they realize, oh, I'm an officer. Or they're going through protocol that isn't typical protocol for law enforcement. And it's like, damn, when you have law enforcement making complaints about law enforcement, then what happens? Situations like this, where normal, most likely, you would assume, Minnesota police, state troopers, whoever, may have let that man live. They may have let the man live. So the simple fact of law enforcement in Minneapolis complaining to their superiors about ICE raises the bar for a simple fact of this is a bit too motherfucking far. Okay? Now, I'll be fair. I'll be all the way fair with you. When it was, I will vote for Donald Trump, and people getting flipped over this shit, they was like, damn, I voted for Trump, and you gonna deport me? I laughed. I said, I told you motherfuckers it would happen. When they started going after other people, Haitian brothers, Jamaican brothers, everything else, like, listen, man, I feel bad, but y'all know exactly what this motherfucker on. You know what time it is. I hate to say it. It's facts. I'm not gonna deal in bullshit. I'm dealing in facts. But now that y'all started killing white people who are American citizens, ICE, your motherfucking days are numbered. I'm telling you now. Y'all done killed this white woman in the face, shot her in the face after she sat on her horn for maybe 4 or 5 minutes in the middle of the street, blocking up traffic. Y'all say, oh, yeah, she was reversing. Okay, you can look at it different angles. She got on their damn nerves, pulled up with the bullshit. Cool. Right? This guy wasn't even as aggressive as ICE was with him. And even if he was reaching for something, he was probably reaching for a napkin to rub his fucking face because you just pepper sprayed the back of his fucking head and maybe that shit got around his face and he can't breathe. Y'all saying this is a weapon. It's 6 motherfuckers holding you down. If he was gonna pull the weapon, he would have pulled the weapon when y'all pulled up on him the first time. My take. Rest in peace, but it's fucked up.
It must stay that way, Minnesota. Minnesotans are witnessing, and we're creating a log of evidence for the future prosecution of ICE agents and officials responsible for this.
Well,
they're helping their neighbors. They're walking their kids to school. They're feeding families. I salute their courage and their restraint, and I call on all Americans to see the decency that this state is exhibiting and the horrific cruelty, unprofessional, absolute abomination that is passing for what these ICE agents are doing on our streets. They think they can provoke us into abandoning our values. Well, they're dead wrong. We'll keep the peace. We'll secure the justice with our neighbors, and we'll see this occupation ends. Minnesotans and Minnesota law enforcement that continuously is being denigrated by this administration will continue to be the adults in the room, the professionals in the room, the decent human beings in the room that will keep the peace. With this, I'd like to turn it over to Department of Public Safety Commissioner Bob Jacobson to update you on the situation as we know it. Thanks, Bob.
I ain't going through all that. I'm trying to hit the next man who's not the governor speak. I'm going to go back to this because this is what they say to remember. This is what you got to remember about the man. Because the media and the conservatives and everyone else is going to spin this shit some kind of way. This is my first introduction to the man. And listen to what he has to say. And as crazy as it is, even if this is a standard, I think the message is there.
Terrence Lee Randolph, March 30th, 1947, December 10th, 2024. Today we remember that freedom is not free. We have to work at it, nurture it, protect it, and even sacrifice for it. May we never forget and always remember our brothers and sisters who have served so that we may enjoy the gift of freedom. So in this moment, we remember and give thanks for their dedication and selfless service to our nation in the cause of our freedom. In this solemn hour, we render them our honor and our gratitude.
No, I don't have any spin. This is my opinion. It's not a spin. Spin is taking the narrative where it doesn't need to go. The narrative is the facts of this is what the people of Minnesota have been complaining about. Leadership in the city. And as somebody who, I'll go back to Kirsten. Let's see what it is again, right? As someone who works in government, has respect for law enforcement, and can call a spade, it's like, you know what, cool. That was unnecessary as fuck across the board. And I think that the issue is with a lot of conservatives, here's the bullshit. Until you get caught up on some bullshit with law enforcement, most likely you're drunk driving, DUI, something crazy, arson, just assuming. That's when you start dealing with the shit, right? That's when it's like, damn, you want somebody to be on your side. And it's not liberal or conservative. It's human. My spin is human. Can you be human and be like, damn, that's fucked up? This man deserved to go home? Even if you disagree on immigration, even if you disagree on education and everything else, you still deserve to go home to your family. People blame the NFL, slapping each other up, calling them all kind of puss-ass, motherfucking N-words and everything else. They still go home to their families. They may be injured, torn ACL, Achilles gone, career over. At least they get to go home and maybe come back like Phillip Rivers. You feel me? Like that's the biggest thing. I get it. Just abide. That's what they say when they kill the black folks. Just abide. But like, no, at the same time, it's like, bro, you can be human too. And be like, yeah, this man deserves to go home to his family. That lady deserved to go back home to her family. This shit could have been de-escalated a whole nother other way, because it's not like you were the illegal immigrant we were coming for. You are not the illegal immigrant that we want to deport. You're the U.S. tax-paying citizen. So why aren't we shooting you? That's the part.
With that, I'll take any questions that you may have. Yes.
Is DHS leading the investigation into this shooting? And if so, will there be a criminal investigation? And also, will we see body camera released from the officers involved?
We are conducting this investigation just like we do all other officer-involved shootings, and we'll continue to do that.
Oh no.
Did the 37-year-old who had a license to carry, did he brandish a gun? And at what point did law enforcement retrieve the gun and also the magazines from him? Can you offer clarity on
this individual and took action to defend the officer's life and those of the public around him. And I don't know of any peaceful protester that shows up with a gun and ammunition rather than a sign. This is a violent riot when you have someone showing up with weapons and are using them to assault law enforcement officers.
Because video appears to show he's disarmed before shots are fired. So I just want clarity on that. And beyond that, I just want to follow up and ask who within the federal government is leading the criminal investigation, understanding that CBP OPR has opened up an internal investigation. And beyond that, why did federal agents tell Minneapolis Police Department to leave the scene?
We're continuing to follow the exact same protocols that we always have. And so this investigation is ongoing. We're continuing to gather the facts as they unfold throughout that. And we'll do it just like we did under the entire Trump administration and previous administrations. Nothing has changed, and we'll continue to release details as we have them. But I want you to not distract away from the facts of this situation. Our law enforcement officers were there doing a targeted operation against an individual who was in this country illegally and had a criminal conviction for domestic assault with intent to do bodily harm, and other convictions as well. This individual went and impeded their law enforcement operations, attacked those officers, had a weapon on him, and multiple dozens of rounds of ammunition, wishing to inflict harm on these officers, coming brandishing like that and impeding their work that they were doing. We'll continue to allow. That is a different incident that happened at the same situation after the tragedy unfolded. But yes, that's the kind of assaults and violence that our law enforcement officers are facing out in the streets, and that the local leaders are encouraging. Remember what Mayor Frey has said, that he wanted ICE out of the city. We have been working and had a presence in that city for years. We are there to enforce the law and to make sure that the public is safe. Just since we have been there, we have arrested thousands of individuals that have criminal convictions and are in this country illegally and gotten them off the streets of Minneapolis. The two things that we've asked the mayor and the governor for is that they would partner with us, and before they let somebody dangerous out of their jails, that they would let us know so we can deport them out of our country. I do not know why they continue to choose the side of lawbreakers, criminals, murderers, and rapists over the citizens of Minneapolis. And this situation that we have today is a tragedy that we don't have to have. We have it because we have a mayor and a governor who encourage this violence and encourage this type of rioting. And remember, these are the individuals that were in charge when Minneapolis burned in 2020. They facilitated it, they encouraged it, and they saw the destruction, and we all watched the destruction of that city back then. It doesn't have to happen again. It appears that they're following the same playbook, and the reason that they're doing it is to distract from the corruption that they have facilitated in fraud and theft from the American taxpayers. Tens of billions of dollars they have been funneled into criminal pockets and stolen from vulnerable people that needed these programs to take care of their children, to go out and provide services to individuals that were developmentally disabled, people that needed programs that the federal government has to take care of those that are less fortunate and need it. And instead, Governor Walz and Mayor Frey allowed that kind of theft to continue, and now they want to perpetuate violence against our law enforcement officers to cover it up.
Secretary,
yes.
You just made
absolutely crazy.
That the individual posed a threat to law enforcement.
That is no claim. It is the facts. The facts of this situation. This individual showed up to a law enforcement operation with a weapon and dozens of rounds of ammunition. He wasn't there to peacefully protest. He was there to perpetuate violence, and he was asked to show up and to continue to resist by a governor who's irresponsible and has a long history of corruption and lying.
Let me just pull up the video again just in case, because the chat says we were tripping too, so I'm gonna just pull it a little closer. That's the guy, right? That's the person. Make sure our people on the vertical can see it. Let me make sure. Hold on. That's the guy we're talking about, right? Make sure. All right, cool. Okay. That's the guy that shot, right? Okay, cool. Push the woman over the ice. Stand up for the woman. Gets pepper sprayed. Pepper sprayed. Pull apart. Is that must be the person? Is that the person ICE was after? Because all of this.
We've seen multiple video angles of the scene that show the shooting as it happened, and some observers are noticing a potential disconnect with the narrative from the head of the Border Patrol and the Department of Homeland Security. Earlier today, our Tim Blotz has more as DHS issued a strong statement on the shooting and Alex Pretti, the man who died.
This is an instance where, in fact, we knew, before we knew Alex's name here this afternoon and the background of the DHS statement here, they called him an individual, I'm going to quote here, who wanted to do maximum damage and massacre law enforcement. That's their words, their statement. I think by now a lot of you have seen the videos, and so too is Rob Dorr, who's the president of the Minnesota Gun Owners Law Center. According to Chief O'Hara this afternoon, Mr. Pretti was a gun owner with a permit to carry. And as Rob Dorr looked at the videos, he noticed that there was no visible firearm on Mr. Pretti. And Rob also observed that Mr. Pretti was perhaps disarmed before he was shot. Now, Rob watched that video with us this afternoon during our live coverage here, and here's what he had to say.
You see his arms are kind of pinned right in front of him as he's on the ground, and then then you see the agent in the gray coat there, who doesn't have a firearm in his hand, reach around and pull out a firearm. So right here you see it looks like the man's I think Mr. Pretti's arms are pinned down in front of him. So he's not reaching for his firearm. Both hands are right there. You know, it's difficult to see what happens right in this second here, but we do see that the agent comes back with the firearm in his hand. That firearm matches the firearm that was photographed by DHS, saying that it was Mr. Pretti's firearm, and then that's when you hear the shots fired.
And again, that's the perspective of Rob Dorr, who's the president of the Minnesota Gun Owners Law Center. And I can assure you, Rob is a frequent testifier at the state capitol on Second Amendment rights.
See what happens right in this second here, but we do see that the agent comes back with the firearm in his hand. That firearm matches the firearm as he's on the ground, and then then you see the agent in the gray coat there.
This is the one he's talking about. Make sure that, we tapped in, chat.
Who doesn't have a firearm in his hand, reach around and pull out a firearm. So right here you see it looks like the man's I I think Mr. Pretty's arms are pinned down in front of him, so he's not reaching for his hot firearm. Both hands are right there. It's difficult to see what happens right in this second here, but we do see that the agent comes back with the firearm in his hand. That firearm matches the firearm that was photographed by DHS, saying that it was Mr. Pretty's firearm, and then that's when you hear the shots fired.
And again, that's the perspective of Rob Dorr, who's the president of the Minnesota Gun Owners Law Center. And I can assure you, Rob is a frequent testifier at the state capitol.
Listen, man, that shit crazy. Shit murder like a motherfucker. It's unnecessary, bro. All I'm saying is a man deserved to go home. The lady deserved to go home, bro. Like, you can feel how you feel about shit in America. You could be like, you know what? I want America to be better on race issues, on income issues, on social issues, on fucking stay out of my kids' lifestyle with that over sexualization of bullshit. Like, remember the Herbal Essence commercials? Remember the Herbal Essence commercials were the only sexualization of shit you would ever see? And now all of a sudden sexualization is everywhere, all over the algorithm. How do you protect your kids from that? I do believe that we can want a better America. And I also believe that shit, a lot of this shit ain't worth dying for. I'm sorry. If you sign up for the Army, the armed services, and yes, all the way. But if you're an average, everyday citizen, like, you know what, I just want to disagree. All right, cool. If law enforcement says, get your ass on the sidewalk, all right, fine, fuck it. I'm on the sidewalk. Why am I holding up traffic? But at the same time, it's like, God, okay, you got a gun on them. You already got 6 motherfuckers on them. All right, just, bro, you trying to go home or not? That's really the question. Are you trying to go to motherfuck home or not? If the question is yes, all right, stop this bullshit. Take your ass to fuck home. But this is crazy. No, who's defending bad behavior? The dude was resisting, and he got murdered, but ICE is killing people for no damn reason. It doesn't make any fucking sense. Let me check the chat. What's the chat talking about? I'm dumb. Thank you, Walter. What criminals? The dude was a fucking nurse. What the fuck are you talking about? We aren't antagonizing ICE agents. I'm not antagonizing no fucking ICE agents either. Fuck you mean? I'm not getting in the way of the bullshit. I want to go the fuck home. But, like, whatever, Walter. Kiss my ass, Walter. You can't just show up. Do whatever the fuck you want. Like, you walk away. Go home. All right. Bro, they have a right to protest. Yeah, they have a right to protest. They also have a right to be like, damn, okay. I want to go home, motherfucker. A right to make the right damn decision. I'm sorry. I don't think that murder was justified. At the same time, I don't think that I'm going to sacrifice my life for this bullshit. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. So what are you But when that 5-year-old was detained this week, like, that was a part to me. It's like, you know, when I heard the story, I was like, you know what, damn. Yes. You're in a situation where You need checks and balances. If we're going to pull over someone and they have a kid in the car, what's the process? Are we tracking down first the emergency contact? Are we making sure they're with someone? Like, what? How does that all kind of go? ICE detaining a kid set the shit off even worse than it needed to be. To be real. Let me finish what Pretti was saying.
And we won't stand for it anymore. These law enforcement officers take an oath. They get up every single day and they go out to protect the public. Many of these individuals live in their communities. And this mayor and this governor have doxed them. They have allowed people to threaten them and their families and expose their identities in order to instill fear and violence. And that's not what America is about. We're going to continue to tell the truth about Minnesota, Minneapolis, what happened here, the theft over the last many years that these leaders have facilitated. And we're going to continue to do our work to get to the bottom of the investigations. And the one question you should be asking is the mayor, the governor, and the attorney general have all confirmed that they have been subpoenaed to come in front of a criminal federal grand jury. So they are covering up and are being in a part of a system where they are going to be brought to justice for anything that they had to do with this investigation. They have confirmed they've been subpoenaed, and they will be in front of a grand jury to get that criminal investigation unfolding and to disclose the kind of fraud that they have allowed to happen. Yes.
The White House has labeled the man who was killed in Minnesota as a domestic terrorist. Is that something you agree with? And have you seen any evidence to
When you perpetuate violence against a government because of ideological reasons and for reasons to resist and perpetuate violence, that is the definition of domestic terrorism. This individual who came with weapons and ammunition to stop a law enforcement operation of federal law enforcement officers committed an act of domestic terrorism. That's the facts.
Where's the evidence of his ideology?
Yes.
Drew Evans, Superintendent of Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, had said during a news conference today that when federal agents blocked his agency from the shooting scene, when they went, got a judicial warrant, they returned, they were still blocked. Why were they?
We have asked these state officials to help partner with us on law enforcement operations for months. Ever since President Trump came into the White House, we've asked them for their partnership to stand alongside of us so we could do targeted operations against criminal illegal aliens and to help us make their streets safer. They have refused over and over and over again, and they have perpetuated a narrative that is absolutely false. And our federal law enforcement officers will continue to do their work, and they'll do that to make America safe again.
Secretary,
yes.
Thank you. Sorry, this is the second DHS law enforcement operation shooting that's happened this year. There was another incident in Portland. 5 people have also died in immigration detention so far this year. Why is immigration enforcement becoming so deadly under your tenure?
Immigration enforcement is exactly what the American people asked for. When we had a Democrat administration in the White House that facilitated an invasion of millions of people over our southern border and let people come into this country that were completely unvetted. We know for a fact that we had hundreds, if not thousands, of terrorists, suspected terrorists, criminal organizations and gangs that came in and have been committing criminal activities against American citizens for years now, that the American people said enough is enough. We want them out of our country. We want them brought to justice. And they trusted President Trump to go out there and to make America safe again. It is absolutely false to say that there's more incidents with our law enforcement than there was in history before. In fact, our accuracy and our operations are being conducted in a manner that is historic for accuracy and taking care of people and doing so safely. So the narrative with the press that they've perpetuated that we have more individuals that have been jeopardized or that our detention centers are is absolutely false. Our detention standards and the people that are being taken care of there are at the highest level they've ever been. They exceed state and local standards, and we'll continue to do that and make sure that people have the facts around how people are treated when they're brought into detention, and then we take them home.
Secretary,
yes.
We've seen some reports about witnesses being taken to the Whipple Federal Building in Minneapolis. Could you explain why the witnesses of the shooting this morning have been taken to that building?
The witnesses to are you talking about the ones that have been detained that are illegal aliens?
No, the witnesses, I think, to the event in Minneapolis.
I won't speak to the investigation and the details, and those will continue to unfold, but I do know that we're continuing to follow the same protocols that we always have.
Secretary, no.
Was there a question back here on the storm?
question on the storm. We are at FEMA headquarters. Secretary,
yes.
If these are targeted arrests, why are these immigration agents going after civilian protests out of their way? And second,
This individual impeded the law enforcement officers and attacked them. State the facts as they unfolded on the street today. We were doing a targeted operation against an illegal criminal, and this individual came with a weapon and dozens of rounds of ammunition and attacked them. And these agents took action to defend their lives and to defend the lives of the people around them and acted according to their training. And we will continue to let this process go forward and not allow people like Governor Walz and Mayor Frey to lie about what actually unfolded on that street. Now they have deemed this situation an unlawful assembly, and these leaders aren't even cleaning up the situation that they have as far as the violent riots that we see unfolding in Minneapolis right now. They need to be strong, take action, protect their citizens, and partner with us to go after these criminals that perpetuate violence and to keep our law enforcement officers safe. Let's all be grateful for people who take an oath every day and they go out to enforce the laws. That is their job, is to enforce the laws and to make sure that there is consequences for breaking the law in this country and that it applies equally to everybody. That is what they do. They do it every day. They do thousands of operations every single week, and they do it with excellence. Don't let political corrupt leaders who are just trying to cover up their theft of American taxpayer dollars try to distract you from the facts of the situation. One more question, right here.
Governor Tim Walz said he told Susie Wiles that Minnesota would take the lead on this investigation. Are you working with local law enforcement on the investigation?
This is the same protocol we'll always follow. Who would trust Governor Walz at this point? The man has stood up and encouraged resistance. He has refused to partner with us. He's sacrificed his citizens' safety and their well-being by choosing the side of people who break the law and who steal money and who perpetuate violence. He has chosen all of that and backed an administration previously that allowed an invasion of our country. We need to partner with people who truly understand that the law is the law, and in the United States, we will keep people safe. Thank you. Last question.
Move the president closer to invoking the Insurrection Act?
The president will use every tool that he needs to follow through on his promises to the American people. I'm proud to work for a president that wants to keep people safe, and he recognizes that political individuals like Governor Walz and Mayor Frey need to be met head-on with recognizing that we're not going to allow them to distract us from what they've facilitated for corruption in their state. We're going to treat Minneapolis exactly the way that we have treated every other city across this country as far as helping to make those streets safe. Remember, we have other cities with Democrat mayors, Republican mayors that we worked well with together. We've driven down the crime rates. We've driven down the murder rates. We have continued to keep people safe, and we have stopped hundreds of millions of lethal doses of drugs from killing our children, and have continued to do operations to make sure that we're protecting them, our kids and our grandkids, from the criminal networks that Joe Biden let in and leaders like Governor Walz allowed to be successful and to thrive on the streets of Minneapolis. It's going to stop. All of the control in this situation is in Governor Walz's hands. Partner with us on, before you release a murderer out onto the streets, give them to us so we can get them out of our country. We are focused specifically on child pedophiles and sexual assault and trafficking rings in Minneapolis, have brought dozens and dozens of them to justice. Why is he protecting them and refusing to work with us? All he has to do is, before you let somebody out of your jail onto the streets, is give them to us so we can get them out of our country. The second thing is, just keep people safe. Work with us so that we can go get these criminals and get out of there and not have to worry about our law enforcement officers getting attacked by individuals with guns and ammunition and weapons and assaulting and doxing them and their families. We'll continue to do all that we can. We also want to continue to make sure that everybody recognizes this storm is significant. It's the largest storm that we've seen impact the most states and this big of a population in possibly decades. So we want everybody to recognize the seriousness of it. Please stay home with your family. We will continue to give you announcements. We'll continue to work with your governors to get the resources that you need.
That's enough of hearing all that. Like, listen, I know I chopped up a bit of this cursing on piece. I'm gonna go to this Wall Street Journal person that was on the streets after the shooting, but I just don't really buy the bullshit after a while. I get it. You have a job to do, you have talking points, all the other shit, but after a while, it's like, bruh, how do we watch the same video? and come to a different conclusion. I still feel the man should have went home tonight.
I'm in Minneapolis this week covering some large demonstrations in response to the ICE operations. Today, after another fatal shooting of a man by federal law enforcement, I saw demonstrators reiterate that they want this operation out of the city. I was about a block from where we could see the police tape of the shooting site. During the time I was there, every so often officers would sort of move people back. They would fire a flashbang nearby. I had saw an officer fire what looked like pepper balls at the feet of a demonstrator who was standing in the skirt of the driveway.
Back up! Back up!
All of a sudden, things shifted, and multiple flashbangs were fired. I could see the debris coming off of those, sort of the smoke down there, and a long line of unmarked vehicles, which I could see, and some of them had masked agents in them, started moving quickly up the street. People were coming past me. Some of them were wearing gas masks. At that point, I hadn't seen any gas. And then suddenly it was, and it was getting cloudier down at that intersection. I was able to pretty quickly get my mask unhooked from my bag and over my face. I did not have it in the perfect prep position that we're trained to do, but I was able to get it up there pretty quickly. It was that sort of spicy back of your throat, difficult to catch a breath feeling. People around me started coughing and retching a little bit as they were in it. They were running past me to try and get out of the area. Vice President J.D. Vance was in Minneapolis this week, and he called on state and local leaders to turn down the temperature.
Pretty much every jurisdiction where these guys are operating, you don't see the same level of chaos. You don't see the same level of violence. You don't see the problems that we're seeing in Minneapolis. Maybe the problem is unique to Minneapolis, and we believe that it is. And it's the lack of cooperation between state and local law enforcement and federal law enforcement.
I'm done being told that our local elected officials are solely responsible for turning down the temperature. Just yesterday, we saw 15,000 people peacefully protesting in the streets, speaking out, standing up for their neighbors. Not a single broken window, not a single injury.
President Trump has shown no sign to back down on this operation, nor have DHS leaders that I have seen.
How many times must local and national leaders must plead with you, Donald Trump, to end this operation and recognize that this is not creating safety in our city?
Absolutely crazy. What's this next one?
Thousands gather to honor Pretti's life and call for change tonight. Vigils for him are happening across the metro. The biggest, though, at Whittier Park tonight, as the Minnesota Immigrant Rights Action Committee hosted a candlelight vigil. Thousands filled the park calling for change. This scene is just blocks away from where Alex Pretti was shot and killed. After the rally, demonstrators marched back to the scene at 26th and Nicollet. As the community grieves the loss of a man, those who knew him say he was a person who helped others even in his final moments. Uba Ali joins us live where Alex Pretti was shot and killed, and a memorial is growing tonight. Uba?
Yeah, Derek, and despite the bitter temps, people continue to gather here in chants, holding up signs and reminding people that this is not what Minnesota stands for. Many here saw how he died. This has become a sacred space for them to mourn Alex Pretti. But those who knew him best say helping others was not optional, but it was automatic, and that's what he was doing before he was shot and killed. 37-year-old Alex Pretti is remembered as a healer, caring for the sickest as an ICU nurse at the VA. His friend of 2 decades.
There are going to be times when I pick up the phone and I'm not going to be able to get a hold of him for sure.
Heather Zielinski is heartbroken, but she says helping people was who he was. And this moment captured tells the whole story and why he died.
Absolutely, he was standing up for someone. Absolutely, he was standing up for that woman that he was trying to help up. He was trying to help her get out of that situation.
In a statement, his father told the Associated Press he cared about people deeply, and he was very upset with what was happening in Minneapolis and throughout the United States with ICE, as millions of other people are upset. He was born in Illinois and raised in Wisconsin. They say Pretti owned a handgun and had a permit to carry. Outside the hospital, an avid outdoorsman, biking and hiking, finding peace in nature.
He leaned into the things that he was passionate about, and that's one of the things that made him very successful.
In a statement, another neighbor said Alex had a dog who passed in the past year or so. She said, quote, "I remember how sweet it was that as his dog was more elderly, less mobile, he'd be willing to help carry him down to the yard to get some fresh air and to enjoy the outdoors. His dog would lay down and Alex would sit with him and pet him for long periods of time. He was very caring." Pretti lived to help others.
Could they have not killed my friend? Yeah, they could have not killed my friend. They did not need to kill my friend.
Tonight, others are standing up for him. And his loved ones say his life will not be forgotten, and he'll be remembered for how he lived, rooted in compassion and dignity for all. Derek.
Okay, Uba Ali, thank you.
Oh, God. Honestly, chat. I was going to stream the protest earlier, but of course I have my toddler, my son with me, but that wouldn't have been a great stream. So I just at least try to do a recap here. I don't think the gentleman should have died. I honestly don't think the gentleman should have lost his life because of this situation, because of ICE. And I do think that it's just got a bit too far now. We'll see what the next round of this is. But either way, if it's your first time here, I am your boy, the hip hop lobbyist, professional lobbyist in the state of Florida. I'll most likely be streaming tomorrow as well. I don't have a time yet, but we'll lock that in. Streaming on Monday and on Thursday, 9:30 until we get over, and should have some guests on this week. On Friday, we will be having Florida State Senator Chevron Jones in a lobbyist lounge hour. We will be locking in at 1:30. I'll be broadcasting from 12, but Chev's gonna hop in at 1:30 to about 2:30 for the lobbyist lounge hour. This will be our first Florida elected official that we're gonna have in the lounge. And if you don't know, the lobbyist lounge is basically a one-on-one real conversation with me, the lobbyist, and two, the elected official, the candidate on the other side. We're just gonna sit down and have a real conversation about politics, no jargon, no bullshit, just keeping it real and really trying to humanize a lot of this politics stuff. I've been doing this 16 years now. This last week has been my 16th legislative session. I started off as unpaid intern, never wanted to work in politics, fell into it, and guess what? I'm here now. But across the board, just want to thank y'all for tapping in on the stream tonight. You know, just realized something. My soundboard, OBS, still rookie on this thing, but all put together. Thank y'all for tapping in. We're gonna have some good content dropping this week. I'm working on my Black History Month segment as well. Last year I started it, didn't really get the momentum that I needed. I really just didn't finish editing in time as I needed to, but really, it should be a good thing. Make sure you like and subscribe so you can make sure you tap into those. Most likely I'll hit you on the algorithm one way or another. But if it's your first time here, I want to thank you for taking the time out of your day, spending it rocking with your boy from midnight till 2 in the morning. Quiet storm hour, for what it is. But more than anything, as I tap out, let me make sure I get all my screens together because it's a lot. It's a lot. I need to get another monitor, but I ain't get there yet. It's over 400 of y'all still with us. Over 53,000 of y'all still tapped in with your boy tonight. I appreciate every single one of y'all. Just remember, all I ask is when you lay your head on that pillow at night.
Is when you lay your head on that pillow at night.
Well, I gave you everything.
I gave you everything I had.
Hey, appreciate every single one of y'all tapping in. Now we have hit, I want to say, before I all the way lost out, we've hit about 9,472 subscribers on the channel. Actually, 9,481. If 19 of y'all, I'm gonna do it like church. It is Sunday, and I have my smoke glass. This is like, you know, when the pastor starts hollering and breathing between the word. That's what my smoke detector battery is, right? So high. What I'm asking for is just 19 more followers. Just 19 more y'all on the channel right now. It's over 300 of y'all here right now with me. I just need 19 more so we can hit that 9,500 and we can be 500 away from 10,000 subscribers. Either way, I appreciate every single one of y'all again tapping in with your boy. Thank you. Make sure.
Give me 2 claps and a Ric Flair.
Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. I am out for the night, man. Y'all be easy, be safe, be good. Oh, my dude got